How you guys doing tonight? Can you hear me? This is good. This is First Fridays North Beach. The first Fridays before Oakland and Reno and Las Vegas. This started in 2007. So tonight we're celebrating Jack Micheline's birthday.
He would have been 93.
He would have been 93 today. And we've actually named a street up there, Jack Micheline Alley, where he lived after him. This is the only place in the world, North Beach is the only place in the world that actually names streets after poets and artists and not just generals and presidents. So be thankful for that. I'm Dan Macchiarini, and this is Macchiarini Creative Design. We are the oldest ongoing metal arts production studio combined with a gallery ongoing in the United States. We are in our 74th year, and we're going to have a hell of a party next year, and you're all invited. So I have my favorite Jack Micheline poem. Now, Jack Micheline, I knew him, and 3 months before he died, he came in and he gave me his book, right? And we sat like I'm sitting with you, and we read poetry back and forth. And he was one of the great poets of North Beach, and the great poets of this country. And this is called Poet of the Streets. I walk east of Bleecker. The sky is blue. On this Sunday evening, there is something deeper than the earth. There is something deeper than the stone cities. There is something deeper than our existence, than all the robes of power. Power. And the night bleed gutters with crutches. Power. And the night. And the neon vibrating. The night. And 30 moons and Sharpies. The night. And the railroad yards gleaming. The night. And the sky. The night and billboards and darkness. Across the nation, skeletons and machinery, jaundice, joints and lips of caviars, burnt Christmas trees, jazz horns and drummers, above concrete, above whimpering voices, above calculators, riders with tokens in their hands, riders to the sea, a nation of cowards, cowards, wrapped in academic cloth, overall in darkness, overall who live in the deserts, overall shells covering, overall are wasted, burying all the nothingness, burying all the souls, burying all the layers of armor, burying herds with still voices, burying all in the nowhere of silence, herring and fish in cans, turkey and chicken in cans, human in cells of knowing. There is more to life than the lights of savage civilizations. There is more to life than all the words spoken. There is more to life than the eyes can see. I see sun and angels, hemp and sugar and wheat, blood, sinews within the flesh, tinker tapes, gray hairs, jowls on the faces, dollars and gods and people sold and traded, people dying for nothing, people selling their minds and their bodies, people without courage, people with no teeth in drugstores, death loaded with goods, givers of death and more death, cranes and deep hookers, cutting shears for the youth, newspapers stunting the minds, dollars and the spoilers of ships of bananas. I see your faces as I stroll through the cities, the wind touching the faces of whores and the vision of poets encompassing all songs of children outside the brick houses. There is nothing deeper than life and the livers of life. Mankind raped in the banks of vaults of steel, dead soldiers, battlefields surrounded by iron and ironies, a million lost sunsets, a poet unconquered with legacy of Whitman and Lucora, a poet unconquered by stone, glass, by greed, by madness. The lights blaze on the night, lights and cold wind, visions above all death, crows milk dry, golden crosses, the sky blazing with miracles. A poet walks in the cold wind, his head raised, humble and unafraid, death around him filled with waste and banners, death all around him, walking alone with birds above the canoe-shaped moon. Sounds are heard, and the sky glows darkness. I am not afraid. That was January 31st, 1960, in East Bleecker, New York City. It's one of my favorite poems of his. Long live Jack.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. It would have been Jack Micheline's 93rd birthday on Sunday. He was born in the South Bronx of New York 93 years ago. Anyhow, I'm going to start out actually with a poem by Jack Hirschman, which I think very well depicts Jack Micheline. And actually, the first time that I met Jack Hirschman was at Jack Micheline's memorial in the Mission at this old synagogue. The Open Gate. When I came to San Francisco, the street was Jack. I wrote this on the 19 as it passes the now non-existent Donuts and Things on Polk and California streets, where during the war we talked of poets here and in the Soviet Union before going to mini can-dos over on Fillmore to do our things, or headed to North Beach for the wild venues there. Later I learned the street was more than Jack. It was Jack, and few of us had much of it, and we saw poor palms opening everywhere. The war had broken many, and the rats in power, and the cockroach landlords. Jack lived the walk for the open gate inside, where the prisoner heart hears the strain of Mingus or Monk and sings free along the storefronts and to the windows of the world. The Bohemia was dead, but he said, "Long live the Bohemian." The poets were canned or clowned or given microphones to suck on, but he cried, "Long live the poets." Those he envied and decried for having made it beat in the literary world he was right about. They really weren't street, and street was where a poet had to be, or street would be ruled by dead spores and fascisti. He had a memory, a bottle of Chianti, a gypsy fire burning in him all the way back to Black Pushkin. Had the con, hustle, the scrounge, the whale to survive in a world where blood money rigged up everybody's sails. All that to keep the gate open inside, for the poem to blow as a hurricane, for the paint to animal and child. Old buddy of the word, those guts you kept like a holy arc of sparks bursting into flame, you pass on into all of us now bereft, the hip, the dudes, the chicks, the dames. We ask a doll, we ask a dish, Rimbaud, Mayakovsky, Kerouac and all, the street hearts gathered here. Wasn't that a matzah in the teeth of homeless fate? Wasn't that a poet of bright and shining tears? So I'm going to read a poem that he wrote for his granddaughter. It's called Beat the Drum for Me, Nikki. With your short hands and wide grin, my granddaughter Nicole beats the drum for me. She sits at her small desk and draws her dreams, makes butterflies and horses from the Play-Doh machine, makes pigs and ducks too, lions and tigers and the little mouse too, hummingbirds and elephants and wacky-dacky-doo. She has a dog that's frisky named Sanji, and a daddy named Vince, and a mama called Sherry, and a grandpa. And once in a while, an old man comes around, and his name is Grandpa Jack. Beat that drum for me, Nikki. Beat that monkey with a stick. When the moon is funny, and the moon is high, when the moon is full, We'll all get high. Once in a while, an old man comes by, and his name is Grandpa Jack. Beat the drum for me, Nikki. Beat the drum for me. Yeah. And next, I'll probably be back a little later, but for now, I'm going to introduce the next poet, Scott Byrd.
Thank you, Dave. All right, well, I'm going to start off by reading a poem from Neely Tchaikovsky to Jack Micheline. He couldn't be here tonight, but in his stead, he sent me this poem to read for y'all tonight. All right. Meeting Jack Micheline for 80 Winans at 84. 1967. I drove along Melrose and turned onto Gower and made a wrong turn and hit Sunset, where I took a right to the old Central Core. Be nimble, be quick, I mumbled, thinking Mayakovsky loved the expansive human caprice. Jack romanticized him, I'd find out later. I parked on a dilapidated block, Hamilton Court, a truly drab facade, or it could have been King's Blood Hotel, or maybe there was no name, just an address. I buzzed 3A and gained entrance, then climbed 3 step flights. I was only 22. The air smelled of cockroach spray. So much for L.A. glitz. I knocked. Yeah, a voice called out. Moon-faced with Bob Mitchum lips and delicate hands stood before me. I handed him a copy of his first book, River of Red Wine. I hope you're not a poet, he said, sauntering to the edge of his unkempt bed, gesturing toward a chair. 'Cause I hide from poets. I prefer madmen and criminals. The poets I like are outlaws, Rimbaud, Villon, and the Russians. He waved his arms over a ray of light from flashing neon streaming through the window. What I'm saying is I hope you didn't bring your poems. Bukowski sent me, I said. Okay, he's all right. I read your work in some of the anthologies, Street Call New Orleans, and those lines, the people are so nervous. Never mind, I'll sign the book. He reminded me of Sherwood Anderson and James T. Farrell, rough American wordsmiths, no theory, just words, dropped like iron, popping onto freight train flatbeds. We went to the racetrack the following afternoon. He was pacing in the front of the hotel. Quasimodo and the 3rd floor brought us down. We left in glum silence back to town. 53 years now. Jack long gone. Bukowski under stone. I'm an old man who hobbles as he walks. Mayakovsky is a dream. The outlaws, oh, those outlaws. Blue moon, blue moon. All right. Here's a Jack Micheline poem that Jessica picked out for me called Back of Town Blues. Rusted drain pipes reached high above buildings. Children ran after each other, women looking out of windows with bored faces. Liquor stores and saloons did a roaring business. I got that back of town blues in back alley cars and cats and wash line rainbows waved back and forth. Negro mothers walked fat in a tired, lazy stroll. Back of town blues was all over faces. Storefront churches sang loud with sorrow. Gospel saviors went to heaven with the wretched poor. I got that back of town blues. Chariots blew their horns for Sadie. I got that back of town blues. Jimmy got drunk on fire, water, and booze, just walking around with that back of town blues. Not shake your ass and wiggle. Wiggle your ass and flash. Ben, if you want to live a poet's life, don't stay at home jerking off. Just slip from your tyrannical commie dad and go on your own. You're better off dying in the streets of New Orleans or New York. Living a poet's life has nothing to do with writing poems. Living a poet's life is the beginning of a real poem. Most people just jerk off with words They are deaf, dumb, and blind. All people are shit. Your finger moves is a poem. A hard-on is a poem. Ride on a wild cock, ride the wind. Obscenity is poetry. Dementia is poetry. Flashing your ass is poetic. The bug up your ass is a poem. Don't be a pseudo-intellectual phony. Don't be a Jewish Nazi punk. They're all just jerking off to the magazines and the newspapers. Find your own voice. It's a lack of love me, shit, dig me, gossip shit. All sentimental bullshit. All sucking the name-sucking shit. Keep on flying your own flying open door. Be ready for action. Wiggle your ass. Find the blazing eye and follow it to the end.
Thank you, Scott Byrd. And he will be coming back later to play a little bit of music for us. I also wanted to mention that there's a small chocolate cake inside if any of you care to have a sliver. And it says on it, "Wacky Dacky Do," which is a line in several of Jack's poems, including the one that I just read a few minutes ago for his granddaughter, Nikki. Anyhow, that last poem that Scott read was a poem that is published in a book that was edited by Tate Swindell, who is the next reader. Please welcome Tate Swindell.
Well, thank you everyone for being here. This poem is for Jack Micheline. It was written by a mutual friend, Steve Dalachinsky. It's called On the Bar. You were drunk and sad. You read the Post and farted. You were lost but not yet gone and strung out on the corner. You sighed, sure, and signed my copy of Last House in America. For Steve, keep smiling. Love, Jack Micheline. From Harlem to Frisco, from Mexico to Soho, you said, sure, that's a nice one. You said, half hung, belly hanging large from pop buttons, gray mouth, tough hair, such softness in the lines around the eyes inside the book, that something in your face. You paint sometimes, you said, but never write. Right now, that's right. What use for goddamn words or picture books for that matter, or any unfaithful goddamn words. You know, many people die in trains, in cars, in planes, in bars, and some sit stone cold on the corners, hanging and hung and out of words, poor words pouring from the corner of a truly unsung voice. You asked if I knew Will. I said yes. You said he's a great guy, a dreamer and a player of horses. For 20 years, dreams and plays the horses, dreams and never wins. And that was why you loved him, you said, a dreamer. Yes, I said, I met him on this very corner. He dreams, you said, 20 years dreaming and losing. Oh, I said, I don't know if I've ever dreamt, but I do know I've never played the horses. You coughed hard, got up slow, folded and tucked the paper under your arm. Then, walking away, you half turned and said, my horse came in second today, looking absently through me. Good, I said naively, good. And with your back towards me and your body tipping on a slight angle, your gritting words replied, but I bet him to win. Oh, I said, oh. You were drunk and sad, but maybe not unhappy. Oh wait, I ain't going. This is from Jack. It's called Hiding Places. It's from Matt Gonzalez, edited collection, 67 poems and downtrodden saints. There are hiding places in my room where beautiful poems are hidden. Poems hid away in boxes on sheets of brown paper. Poems of spirit and magic, workers' hands hidden in boxes, beautiful thighs. There are blue skies hidden in my room, dolphins and seagulls, the heaving of breast and oceans. There are skies in my room, there are flies in my room, there are streets in my room. There are 1,000 nights hidden in boxes. There are drunks in my poems. There are 1,000,000 stars on the roof of my room, all hidden away in boxes. There are steps down side streets. There is a crazed eye of a poet in my room. There are old Arabs exploring the desert near Escalon. There are sparrows and bluebirds and wildcats in my room. There are elephants and tigers. There are skinny Italian girls in my room. There are letters from Peru and England and Germany and Russia in my room. There are the steps of Odessa in my room. The Volga River in my room. There are dreams in the night of my room. There are flowers. There is the dance of affirmation in my room. The steps of young poets carrying knapsacks full of poems. There are the pictures of exhibition in my room. Mussorgsky and Shostakovich and Charlie Mingus in my room. Composers and painters all singing in my room. All hidden away in boxes. One night, when the moon is full, they will come out and do a dance. Wait, wrong pocket. Okay. One of the things I love about this reading is it gives me a chance to write in my head on the walk, and I try to remember it, but this time I really liked it, so I wanted to write it down. So still in the work. Visitations from within. The ability to stare convincingly into the void. Convincing whom? It's called a sponge, motherfucker, and when was the last time your hands touched one? Was it wiping up blood? Was it your own? Or just some rich guy around the corner? How many hundreds and thousands of bloody sponges never made it to the news? Suffocation disguised as moments of silence. Candlelight vigils setting more than forests ablaze. With smoke that chokes, smog concealed as fog, asphyxiation. Spending more time at the library reading books about how to breathe underwater in many different languages. This one from Jack is called Poem to the Freaks. To live as I have done is surely absurd, in cheap hotels and furnished rooms, to walk up side streets and down back alleys talking to oneself and screaming to the sky obscenities, that the arts is a rotten business indeed, that mediocrity and the rage of fashion rules, my poems and paintings piled on the floor, to be one with himself, a saint, a prince, to persevere through storms and hard-ons, through dusks and dawns, to kick death in the ass, to be passed over like a bad penny, a midget, an ant, a roach, a freak, a hot piece, an outlaw. Raise your cup and drink, my friend. Drink for those who walk alone in the night, to the crippled and the blind, to the lost and the damned, to the lone bird flying in the sky. Drink to wonder, drink to me, drink to pussy and dreams, drink to madness and all the stars. I hear the birds singing. And I'm going to close with a song by Jack, and those of you who know it can sing along with us. It's called Rock Song. It's nice, we got a beat for it and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, the dead stalks the corridors of airports. It's the dead that rule this world. It's the dead, it's the dead, it's the goddamn dead. It's the dead that rule this world. It's the guys writing poems in the streets of this world. It's the guys writing poems for us all. It's a sound that comes from deep in the heart. The sound jumping out of the sky. It's the dead, it's the dead, it's the goddamn dead. It's the dead that rule this world. Don't let it get you down. Don't let the fear bring you down. The hard rock sound. All people born to be free. Oh, the dead stalk the corridors of airports. It's the dead that rule this world. It's the dead, it's the dead, it's the goddamn dead. It's the dead that rule this world. It's the face of the child that I see. It's the rays of the sun in the sky. It's a dog chasing birds in the grass of this world. It's the lovers that make this world free. Everybody. Oh, the dead stalk the corridors, airports. It's the dead that rule this world. It's the dead, it's the dead, it's the goddamn dead. It's the dead that rule this world.
Tate Swindell. So here's another Jack Micheline poem. I'm on the rock, I'm on the stone. That's all that loves me is dogs and little children. I'm on the road, I'm on the stone. That's all that loves me is dogs and little children. Next, please welcome Sarah Menefee.
It's the goddamn dead. It's the dead who rule this world. Oh, that's a great one. Jack's vibrato lips reading his poem about Sammy Soup on the Conan O'Brien show in 1994. Yes, poets like to eat when we can, he said. The streets of New York, the streets of grit, pretty girls going by, their pretty thighs, a hungry life, compassionate. He kissed me on the corner of Market and Van Ness in the wind and stayed in Roberto Valenza's divorce pad for a bit. Two New York guys of two different ages of heartbreak in cold old San Fran shithole that used to be a little fun. A street queen in her furs of lavender fog, with cheap pork chop plates in the Sincere Cafe, and on, but never mind. Happy birthday, Jack Micheline. Happy birthday, life. Our dear true poet who went away entering Polkertrude's sweet dream on the last train to eternity. Jack Micheline, happy birthday. I'm going to read a couple of his poems from this Outlaw Bible of American Poetry that was edited by Alan Coffin a few years back. So this is called Stone of the Heart. No, that was the one. Blues poem. I got no smile because I'm down. I carry a horn to blow in all these streets, a solo riff out of my head. How could you ever know? I feel so high on life and feet and ass and legs and thighs that I can rise and dance with all the stars, and I can eat the moon and laugh and I can cry. The dark caves of city, hungry streets, the tired faces dark and dreary bent, and all the death it dies, I let it die. I lift my horn and blow some sounds, some souls for kids to come, some unborn son in darker streets than mine. Magicians carry wings so they can fly. Let's blow a horn and love. Let's get on it and ride and laugh and dance and jive. Let's shake the dead and let the downers die. The magic of the singers warms the earth. A song, a poem, some paradise of mind. I got to smile now. I'm feeling good. The city street, the palace of my mind. Okay, yeah. This is called One Arm for Ed Balchowski. He made love with one arm. He sang with one arm. He laughed with one arm. He cried with one arm. He walked the streets of Chicago all with a one arm. Was beaten up with one arm, went to jail with one arm, took a shit with one arm, played Bach and Beethoven, sang on the rooftops to early dawn, old Spanish war songs, all these things with one arm. He made love with one arm. One arm, one arm, one arm, one arm, one arm, one arm, one arm. Ed Balchowski, my friend. Happy birthday, Jack.
Once again, Sarah Menefee. For those of you who may not know, Eddie Balchowski was a very good friend of Jack Micheline's, and he actually had one arm because he was a member of the Abraham Lincoln Brigade in the Spanish Civil War, fighting against the fascists in Spain, and he lost. lost his arm in the Spanish Civil War, but he's also a classical piano player, and he continued to play piano with one arm. So anyhow, next, please welcome another person who edited a book of poems of Jack Micheline's called Cocky Moon. Please welcome William Taylor Jr.
All right, thanks everyone. Going to read a quick one by myself that I wrote for Jack and the North Beach Poets. The Sad Ghosts of Poets. I drink in an old North Beach bar surrounded by the sad ghosts of poets. I'm speaking now of the dead ghosts, not the living ones. And I look out the window down on Columbus Avenue, and I think, oh Jack, oh Bob, oh Richard, oh Dylan, oh Jack. At your best, you had the power to turn these lonely alleys into songs. You broke the darkness with a desperate joy, and you mined these dirty sidewalks for a beauty death had no answer for. But death has no shame. I see it spare changing on every corner. It follows me like a starving dog most everywhere I go. It waits for me outside these doors just like it waited for you. All right, I'm going to read some of Jack's from, I edited this book of Jack's poetry called Cocky Moon from Zeitgeist Press. It's kind of like I tried to make it like a greatest hits of Jack Micheline. This one's called Ginny Lee. Me too, it's a good one. Ginny Lee, you never had a chance standing on a corner in the belly of Harlem, and the horns were blowing, crazy Ginny Lee, shaking as a monkey has his way, your veins bulge like rivers, mad dogs are always biting, the needle hard as iron, Ginny Lee. You had to make $1 hustling in the streets, always voices in the rooms, voices in your brain, Ginny Lee. You were 15 and you started just earth and dogs and saliva cum, hard rock, black cat, red bird, Ginny Lee. You never had a chance, Ginny Lee. Scream and shake and vomit green, the horns always blowing, your guts cut out at 20, no black Jesus on a cross of neon, preacher still wailing, blue balls on the corner, Ginny Lee. You're born and you die, no sweet ride for you, baby. The monkeys always jumping, all the faces of angels. No more walking Easter Sunday, no more turkey trimmings, baby. No more 5-star, not got rut sour whiskey, Ginny Lee. A sky full of flowers, a yellow moon for you. Ginny died on the corner where all the voices were. The horns were blowing crazy. A siren wailed that night. Your body wrapped in flowers in the gutters of the sky. Out in the open, out in the streets. Heaven in your eyes, Ginny Lee. This is one of my favorites by Jack. It's just a nice little poem called Nobody Has Time for Lights. I was sitting in my room, shining with lights. I called up 20 people to come and look at my shining lights. I waited, and nobody came. My room shining with lights. Nobody has time for lights. All right, this is called Poem Written on a Hollywood Backstreet Sunday Morning. There we go. The clotheslines in the backyard wave in the light rain. 9 birds sing on the telephone wires. I love and I hate, so intertwined in my foggy brain. I have traveled too much, drank too much, dreamt too much, sang too much, loved not enough. I've not been trained to kill, nor do I kneel to my contemporaries. Nobody owes me anything, nor can I write love letters. Man will never be big enough, brave enough, humble enough. He is a frightened nerve at the end of a stick. He is forever hungry, lost, frightened soul. Love me, he says, the poor bastard. I am Federico Garcia Lorca, Francis Villon, Charles Baudelaire, Marquis de Sade. I'm a boxer in the 9th round, a horse in the stretch, a naked man howling at the sky, a poor poet dreaming of suicide, an anarchist making bombs. My bombs are poems that cut at eyesores. I have been imprisoned by a mad dream. The flowers say hello. So does the dog in the sky. Even the rain that comes down on my head bleeds my heart. I have been paid off by my gift of poetry, the heat of creation. Hey world, I give you beauty, anger, madness, a wild dance. Some poems written on scrap paper. Hey world, I got a light in my brain. Hey world, I want to sell light. Sell light, man? What are you, crazy or something? Who's gonna buy light? You're no electrician. You gotta write dirty stories about cunt and sex machines, about guys who jerk off and carry shit in paper bags. You gotta write about hang-ups and losers and touts and nymphomaniacs. No, no, no. I look up at the sky and the birds have gone, flown away. An ambulance races down Vine Street. My pants are ripped. I got a sore ass. And I'm gonna write Carl and tell him that I love him. And Bob and Charlie and Harold and Sam. Tell them all that I love them. Fuck suicide, it's too dramatic. I'm gonna learn how to write love poems. Yes, 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 yes. All right, one last short one from Jack. Tribute to life. One skinny old man standing against a wall, playing one note on a harmonica at noon, sounds better than all the bands in all the world. One skinny old man.
William Taylor Jr. Okay. So I'm going to close out the poetry with a very, one of my very favorite poems, actually, by Jack Micheline, but it's just a poem that I love in general, called Ballad of Benny Road. Number 65943, a bird, a bone, a glass of champagne. San Francisco's a hell of a town for vagabond cats like me. A bird, a bone, a glass of champagne. They found him in back of the tracks, singing a song on a lonely street, singing the blues in the night. They booked Benny Rhodes on a vagabond charge. They gave him a number as he went through the mill, number 65943. San Francisco's a hell of a town for vagabond cats like me. They took him to court in front of a judge. A self-righteous judge was he. What is your plea? Yelled the fiery judge, and a self-righteous judge was he. I am what I am. I am myself. Benny Rhodes, my name, that's me. 20 days, yelled the judge, 20 days in the county jail. Kneel to the power, kneel to the cross. Faces of judges, badges of men. They dragged Benny Rhodes to a room in the back. We'll fix your wagon, Benny Rhodes. And they beat him bloody with lead-belly clubs, number 65943. They threw Benny in a cell of hell with 7 other men in a tiny cell. He spit and he coughed the blood of his soul, number 65943. They yelled for the jailer, they yelled for the guards, but nobody came in the night. The blood of his soul was spilt on the stone number 65943. Then daylight came and the light did shine. They opened the cell, It was quiet in hell. Benny Rhodes lay dead in a massive red, number 65943. Faces of judges, badges of men, kneel to the power, kneel to the cross, a bird, a bone, a glass of champagne. Benny Rhodes lies dead in an unmarked grave, number 65943. And next, we're going to close out the evening with a couple of songs from Scott Byrd that we thought would be appropriate to the occasion.
Be able to play. Now this here's a story about the Rock Island line. The Rock Island line, she heads down from New Orleans, and there's a big toll gate down there, and if you have certain things on board, then you don't have to pay no toll. But when you get down to the toll gate, you have to tell the man what all you have. And the train driver pulled up to the toll gate, and the man came on board, and he said, I've got livestock, I've got livestock, I've got cows, I've got pigs, I've got sheep, I've got mules, I've got livestock. And he said, well, you all right, boy, you don't have to pay no toll. You just go right on through there. And so he went on through, adding up a little bit of steam, taking on a little bit of steam, shoveling on a little more coal.
Yeah!
And he started getting on through there, and I need Jessica to bring out her tambourine or her maraca or something and sing it for me.
Which do you want?
Oh! He screamed out to the toll man. He said, I fooled you, I got the big iron, I got the big iron, I got all big iron. Well, the Rock Island line, she's a mighty good road. The Rock Island line, she's the road to ride. The Rock Island line, it's hip to ride. If you got a ticket, you're fit to ride. Get a ticket at the station, the Rock Island line. Well, it's cloudy and the rest of the black rain. Round the corner came a passenger train, northbound train on the southbound track. He's all right leaving, but he won't be back. Well, the Rock Island line, she's a mighty good road. The Rock Island line, she's a road to ride. The Rock Island line, she's a mighty good road. Well, if you ride, you got to ride it like you find. Get your ticket at the station for the Rock Island line. Well, I may be right and I may be wrong, but you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Well, the engineer said before he died, there's a few more drinks I'd like to try. The doctor said, what could they be? He said, I'd like a cup of coffee and a cold glass of tea. Well, the Rock Island line is a mighty good road. The Rock Island line, it's the road to ride. The Rock Island line, if you get to ride, you got to get your ticket at the station to ride that Rock Island line. Well, I may be right and I may be wrong, but you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I'm gonna play another song in the key of L, and you may think it sounds like L.
I couldn't tell the difference.
I dreamed I was lost in a city of stone, and the people that dwelled there were marble. I wondered in vain for any all signs of life were gone, and I feared for my soul in that city of stone. The most precious of gifts comes in the strangest of forms. Sweet life quickens even in the charnel. Sometimes we're granted visions that serve us as a warning, how our passing needs are written in stone eternal. So make not your heart into a city of stone. The higher that you build those walls, the surer overthrow. For here stands a man who came back from too far gone, when he dreamed he was lost in that city of stone. And here stands a man who came back from too far gone. Oh, I dreamed I was lost in that city of stone. Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Thank you, Jessica and Macchiarini.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Have a little bit of the wacky daffy juke cake inside.